If you lived in the Bay Area long enough, you'll either have heard of Aki's famous guava chiffon cake or been fortunate enough to have tried it. It's been over 10 years since they've closed, and many bakeries around the area have tried to duplicate their success and come up with their own guava chiffon cake recipe. Well, today we're gonna chase Aki's Guava Chiffon. Guava chiffon cake is a popular Hawaiian cake that was first created by Herbert Matsuda in the 60s in his Honolulu bakery. It's essentially 2 layers, sometimes more, of California chiffon cake, and it sandwiches a layer of tropical guava filling, and on top is a guava icing. It's so delicious. And for those of you who've been out to Hawaii, you'll know that it's a pretty common flavor that's a favorite of the locals out there. Well, anything that delicious is bound to make it over here to the mainland. And here, specifically in the Bay Area, for many decades, Aki's Bakery in San Jose carried the baton for having the best guava chiffon cake. The first bakery was opened by Akito Yoshima in Japantown, and later they moved to a second bigger location in Willow Glen. And the business was finally retired in 2007 and sold to Vienna bakery owner Brian Bacher. I had my first taste of Aki's guava cake at my niece's first birthday party, and oh my God, it was like a little bit of heaven in my mouth. It was so good and like nothing I've ever had before. The chiffon is infused with some guava concentrate, which gives it this bright pink color, and the flavor of the guava is so intense. Not just in the fillings, but also in the cake as well. Well, Bacher closed down Aki's in 2014, and for many of us Aki's fans, we were left out in the cold. In the few years since Aki's has closed down, many bakeries around the Bay Area have either tried to reproduce Aki's recipe or tried to put their own spin on this legendary guava cake, but I don't think anybody has come close to achieving Aki's throne. Lately, it's been on my mind again, and I've decided to go chase Aki's guava cake. I've done my research and made a list of bakeries that, according to Yelp and other reviewers, have achieved the perfect replica. So let's go and do some taste testing. So for our first stop, we're at La Patisserie in Cupertino. I decided to hit them first because rumor has it that the Aki's recipe was handed down to them. And Yelp reviewers swear that their guava cake tastes exactly like Aki's. All right, let's head in and get our cake. So as you can tell from their name, La Patisserie focuses only on French cakes and pastries. There was a point in time where they only did cakes and they were damn good at it. Recently though, they've kind of expanded more into pastries and cookies, so you'll kind of find a little bit of everything here. All right, so I think I got the last one left here. They also have the guava cupcakes here, but I've been told not to get those because it's not quite the same experience. Don't do by the slice, so I got a whole cake. This one was about 45 bucks. Let's go home and cut into it and try it out. Okay guys, check out this cake. It is so beautiful, and I could totally smell that guava wafting up from the pastry box as soon as I opened it. It looks like the outside has this beautiful whipped cream icing, and then it's topped off with that guava jelly, just like Aki's. But in true La Patisserie fashion, it's got all this piping, so it's much fancier, and they've coated the outside with a little bit of the guava cake crumbles. So I cut myself a pretty generous slice here to try, and you can see it's got 3 layers of the chiffon cake, and then it's filled in between with the whipped cream icing. The whipped cream icing is tinged slightly pink, so I'm very hopeful that they added a little bit of guava concentrate to it. All right, got my fork here. Let's take a bite. Oh yeah, very soft. Take a look at this beautiful bite of cake. That is really divine. This chiffon cake is so moist. And I feel like they've soaked it in a little bit of guava juice because you definitely have a wetter texture to the cake. So I'm gonna see if maybe this whipped cream here has been infused with a little bit of guava. Okay, that wasn't fair. I got a little bit of icing in that. I'm gonna have to do it again. Definitely has guava in it. And then this icing on top here is so smooth. Oh, that just melts on the tongue. perfect texture. And it's really nice and fruity and not at all that concentrated sweetness of a jelly. Yeah, that's pretty close to Aki's. The only thing that's missing is I would have loved to see a couple more layers of this guava jelly inserted in between. Okay guys, this is gonna be the one to beat, but we've got 3 more bakeries, so let's get on with the tastings. So for our next stop, we're here in West San Jose at Bijan Bakery. This bakery has been here for years, and they just recently opened up a second location across from the Tech Museum in downtown San Jose. It's kind of more of an old world bakery, and they mainly specialize in French and European pastries. It all looks super delicious. Okay, this is what we're going for right here. What they have here is a guava mousse, which is going to be slightly different from the Aki's version. It should be lighter. Luckily they have them by the slice as well, and I got the last slice. So this one slice is about $6, and it's not 100% like Aki's. The chiffon cake is just a plain angel food chiffon. It's not infused at all with the guava concentrate. The decoration on top is kind of fancy. They've got gold glitters embedded into the icing, but it does have the same guava filling with a little bit of the guava icing on top. Let's dig in. That's quite yummy. The flavor is not as intense as Aki's. Obviously, because the chiffon is lacking that concentrate, you have the lightness of the angel food instead. But there's definitely that nice guava from the buttercream filling. The gel icing is kind of nice too. This one is a little bit stickier and thicker than I remember Aki's being. The chiffon cake is nice, but not anything special. So overall, perfectly serviceable, but does it meet the standards of Aki's? Not quite there. Let's keep going. Okay guys, we are at our next location, Elite Bakery in Union Square. This bakery is the most popular Filipino bakery in the East Bay. So as is typical of most Filipino bakeries, they kind of do a little bit of everything. They do cake, breads, a lot of like the hot savory foods. And I hear that their guava cake is to die for. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it stacks up to Aki's. Got all sorts of other yummy flavors. This one is mango, and then ube. So guys, this is literally the last piece left. I actually had to call in advance to put it on hold. When I called like a half an hour ago, they had 2 pieces, and now this is it. This looks pretty close to Aki's. At the bottom here is a layer of the guava chiffon cake, and a layer of guava jelly, whipped cream, the chiffon cake, guava jelly, whipped cream, and it's topped off with another layer of the guava jelly. Yummy. That guava jelly has a nice burst of flavor to it. Less intense than I anticipated. The cake itself, even though it's got that beautiful bright pink color, to me doesn't taste as strongly of guava. It tastes kind of like a really nice cake. And this filling and icing is a whipped cream that is not infused with guava. So it's got this rich, dairy, creamy taste to it. And it definitely takes the edge off the guava. So when you take a bite, what you're getting is that mouthfeel with the cold whipped cream and then the spongy cake. And then it's kind of like spiked with bits of guava here and there. So how does it compare to Aki's? Visually, it's very close. But for me, the chiffon cake is not quite there. I think in the Aki's cake, the guava was much, much more pronounced. But overall, I think this is a pretty decent try. All right, I think I have room for one more slice. Hey guys, so this morning I'm hitting our 4th and final location in the Willow Glen neighborhood of San Jose. They were not open yesterday, so I'm making an extra trip this morning. Flower Flower is another European style patisserie that specializes in traditional cakes. So let's go in and eat some cake. What a cute little cafe. Look how beautiful these pastries look. So what we're getting here is this one, the guava cake, but we are getting the small individual sized portions down here. I'm gonna get this guava cake here, and it's about $7. So it's kind of clever. They've wrapped it here with a layer of plastic so that the cake doesn't dry out. So it's got 3 layers. This bottom layer here is an angel food cake, and then a mousse, a guava mousse, and then the guava jelly on top. Cheers. Ooh, tart. The jelly layer has quite a concentrated flavor of guava to it. The mousse is delicious as well, and they've got a pretty thick layer of it, so you're getting a lot of that creamy texture. And the guava in the mousse is pretty pronounced as well, so it's definitely not a subtle flavor. But I think I actually prefer that since guava itself is such a delicate fruit. You tend to need a lot of it in order to make an impactful flavor. The cake itself is just standard angel food. Nothing too exciting, but I appreciate that they've got a pretty thin layer of it. So the star is really the mousse and the guava jelly on top, and the cake is really just a way to balance out the guava flavoring so it doesn't become too overpowering. Can I say how yummy the guava jelly is? It's actually got a pretty soft texture to it. It like literally melts in your mouth. I don't know guys, this is gonna be pretty tough to rank. Tell you what, let me finish this and I'll get back to you with my thoughts on who takes the new crown of best guava cake in the Bay Area. I am back. Okay, that was a total trip down memory lane. Do I think that I found a replacement for Aki's? Probably not, but I got pretty close. It took me a while to decide on these rankings just because the styles were so different across all 4 of these bakeries, but here are my rankings, starting with 4th place. I'll give it to Elite Bakery. I give them full points for visual correctness, but when it comes down to the taste, they're not quite there. The guava taste is definitely too subtle for me. I think maybe if they amped up the guava flavoring in the chiffon cake and added some of that concentrate into the whipped cream, yeah, it would be bomb. 3rd place goes to Bijan's guava mousse cake. Okay, so I get this is not a Hawaiian guava chiffon cake. You can't really make like comparisons, so I'm gonna base it mostly on taste. That intense guava goodness is there in the mousse, but I think there's just way too much cake and it just dilutes it too much. I don't know if maybe it's been sitting out for a while, but it was dry and that guava jelly layer on the top was kind of hard, like Jell-O that's been sitting out a little bit too long. Okay, we're down to our top 2. Number 2, drum roll please, Flower Flower. I had to deliberate long and hard on this one because honestly, this was the best tasting cake. I love the vibrancy of the guava and the proportion of the mousse to the cake was just right for me. Super moist, super delectable. And that guava jelly on top was to die for. Super concentrated, super tart, and yet soft. I ended up having to rank it down 1 because, well, this is a Chasing Aki's video, and while in spirit it captures the full essence of guava cake, visually it's not quite the same thing. It's a little bit like Aki's, deconstructed. Which leads me to number 1, La Patisserie. And given the rumors that they have Aki's recipe, well, it's no wonder. Chiffon cake, delicious. Whipped cream, delicious. Guava jelly, delicious. Although I really wish that they would put more of it in there and maybe layer it with all of the whipped cream. Sure, it's not a complete replica, but this is my go-to place if I ever get a cravings for Aki's again. And that's a wrap on today's epic adventure. Till next time, peace out.